Good evening, fellow Night Owls, and welcome to another nocturnal adventure on Night Owl Gaming. We're diving into the chaotic world of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. But before we spin into the nitty-gritty, we want to talk about the series as a whole a little bit. Since its inception, Crash Bandicoot has had its ups and downs. Its legacy can't be understated, but after Naughty Dog finished their initial trilogy, things entered into a bit of a rough patch. Does Crash 4 do enough with its mask-swapping system to keep us engaged until the very end? Stick around to find out.
A great power has awoken.
Crash Bandicoot 4 does away with the gimmicks of enemy control and party games to re-engage as a competent 3D platformer. The story is that some evil doctors named Neocortex and Nefarious Tropy are trying to take over the universe. Aku, the masked character that is always accompanying Crash, senses this and rouses Crash and Coco to collect the 4 quantum masks to save the multiverse. Each of these masks has an exciting personality matching their abilities, and they all affect platforming somehow. Some of these later levels incorporate multiple masks in a single jump and can provide quite a challenge. Going through the multiverse and having these masks tied to different universes makes each world feel very unique. Not that it needs a lot of help, each of the worlds are beautiful and they feel so natural and alive. Now, I'm not personally one of the people that likes to 100% games, but if you like to speedrun or love collectathons, this game has a lot of replayability. You can unlock bonus levels as you go through the worlds and even run through each world once again once you have progressed far enough in the game. And if you care about collecting just like everything, this game has it for you. Now, I had personally backed off the Crash series for some time. I didn't play any of these games, which may explain why I don't like playing as Crash's alt-ex-girlfriend or whatever this thing is. I just don't really understand much of the lore that makes these characters pertinent to the story, so I could really care less about the bonus levels where you have to play as these characters.
Just in time! Sorry I'm a little late. Invitation got lost in the mail.
Did you invite him?
I didn't invite him. Anyway, ooh, diaper chocolate. My fave. Ooh, kitty cat. That's good.
My brother and I as kids shared a PlayStation, and we played all 3 of the first 3 games. But while my brother got a PS2, I went the Xbox route. Even though starting in 2001, the series has been multi-platform, the games were either becoming repetitive or relied on gimmicks that didn't excite me as a gamer back then. Plus, with the way Crash and Spyro were starting to be marketed, they were aiming for a more young market, and I was pleasantly surprised by this game. It felt like picking up where Crash 3 left off, and it was a fantastic experience. Alright, fellow Night Owls, since Crash 4 was better than I remember it being, it made me think, what about other platformers that I don't play anymore? Are other Mascot platformers as good as I remember them being? So I'd like to look at some of the platformers that I played as a kid to see how they hold up now and if they're all they're cracked up to be. So first up, we're going to take a look at Spot Goes to Hollywood. Released in 1995 for the Mega Drive and Genesis, and then from 96 to 97 on the Saturn and PlayStation, the sequel to Cool Spot elevated the 7-Up mascot from a side-scrolling beachcomber to a full-blown action hero. Developed by Eurocom, this game took Spot through different film and TV genres, from westerns to sci-fi, but it fell short in some ways. Like the original Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation, sometimes it could be hard to see where you were landing, and they could often hide collectibles behind walls and whatnot. Spot had 2 other games in the series, but this was the last game released for this carbonated weirdo. It was an exciting time when brands tried to break into video games in weird ways. I remember getting a Tony the Tiger PC Assistant app from a disc on a Frosted Flakes box around this time. I honestly thought it was crazy until I came across it on the Internet Archive. Either way, I remember playing this game and getting very frustrated. So it looks like so far I have yet to be impressed with my childhood platformers. Next, I'm gonna hop to a Down Under franchise and Tide the Tasmanian Tiger. This game by Chrome Studios introduced us to an Australian tiger with a penchant for boomerangs. The main gimmick here was an arsenal of different boomerangs, each with a unique ability. Looking back on it now, this is almost like baby's first Metroid Prime. There's lots of environmental traversal options that improve by increasing your weapons arsenal. I remember having a blast with the different traversal options I found with different boomerangs. Feels almost like Spyro in that way a little bit. I only remember a little about the story, but I found out that they remastered the game in 2015, and even the Switch version includes the second Ty game. Ty's adventure to find 5 mystical talismans was peppered with Australian humor and wildlife, making it a down-under delight.
Boo! You stink!
I'm super stoked to try the remaster, and honestly, I remember the game being a pretty competent game. It's just unfortunate that Ty isn't as loved today as other gaming mascots are.
This Blasto character is a vulgar, foul-mouthed adolescent and a disgrace to our profession. Thank you.
Wow, easy there, fella.
PlayStation.
Released in 1998 exclusively for the PlayStation, Captain Blasto, voiced by the legendary Phil Hartman, was at the top of his game when he recorded Blasto's line, but the game's release was unfortunately overshadowed by his tragic death. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Sony didn't want to look like they were trying to capitalize on his death, so the game marketing was quiet at best. Personally, as a big fan of SNL at the time, and just a huge fan of The Simpsons as well, the loss of Phil Hartman was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was just super sad. Developed by Sony Interactive Studios America, Captain Blasto's blend of 3D platforming was a unique offering in the Mascot platforming genre. It captured a sort of Duck Dodgers retro future space adventure, sort of like a serial feel that I loved as a kid, so this game was right up my alley. For what it's worth, this and many of the games on this list were found on PlayStation Underground discs. They were sample discs that would come with the system and sometimes in the magazines. They were fun ways to play a level or two of 6 to 10 games, and sometimes have like different trailers for different games coming out. But Captain Blasto was an excellent game and actually used twin stick shooting, which was really cool and forward thinking for the time. Then there's
Croc's got the moves. In a brand new, free-roaming 3D adventure.
Released in 1997 and developed by Argonaut Games, the game brought us a crocodile hero in a 3D platforming world and resembles Mario 64 in many ways, but it has horrible tank-like controls and an awful hitbox for enemies. Croc's quest to rescue his furry friends, the Gobos, from the evil Baron Dante was interesting and impressive for the time, but this game is more important than good to me. The first and second games were on consoles, then they were remade for the Game Boy Color, and Croc 2 was even remade as a top-down Zelda clone, which, if anything, is at least an interesting way to spice up the franchise. The series creator said on Twitter that apparently there's a Croc HD in development, so we'll clip and save this part for whenever that game comes out. Leave a Croc emoji if you want a Croc HD. Oh damn, that's 2 Crocs in a row, no!
Revenge.
To bring a third reptile into this, let's talk about Gex.
Hello?
Want to see me change the channel with my tongue?
Where are you?
Open the drapes.
One TV-obsessed gecko, revolutionary 3D graphics. It's Gex, Enter the Gecko.
Making his debut in 1994 and developed by Crystal Dynamics, this wisecracking gecko didn't just walk walls. He shattered the fourth wall with jokes that held up better than I expected. Plus, the game was filled with constant pop culture references, which was perfect for a TV-addicted kid like me.
Kill your TV, man.
It mixed current commercials and movies I saw running on random Saturdays, and paired nicely with its fun gameplay. I last played the series some time ago, but Limited Run announced that they're remastering the trilogy in 2024, so I hope to grab a copy when it comes out later this year. So, what does this all mean for Mascot platformers? Are they a dead format? There are many platforming legends like Ty and Cool Spot that might not have stolen the mainstream spotlight, but they certainly captured our hearts. They also had a hand in shaping how a generation of gamers played games and moved the whole medium forward, even if they were not the mega successes they'd hoped they'd be. So what do you think, fellow Night Owls? Have I missed one of your favorite lesser-known Mascot platformers? I have a few more platformers that I'd like to discuss in the future, so let me know what franchise I should include in another list. Thanks for watching, fellow Night Owls, and we'll see you tonight.